Let's go to the mat and we're going to lie on our backs. And if you need a blanket under your head, take a blanket and have a belt. And then make a loop. We're going to put it around our shins and thighs in constructive rest position. And just have your looped belt off to the side and come down with or without your blanket. And just take a moment to micromanage your feet. So I want you to walk your feet all the way in and feel how you have more weight on the ball of the foot, and then walk your feet further out past 90 and feel that you have more weight in your heel. And then I want you to see if you can find a place where it feels fairly equal in the ball and the heel of the foot under the sole of the foot. So just take a moment to feel for that. If it's not causing any stress, keep the knees slightly apart, but if at some point they start to quiver or shake, drop them in towards each other. But just take a few moments, close the eyes. First, noticing what's the quality of your breath. Do you feel it's easy to get your breath lower in your body? Can you feel it in your belly? Can you feel it around your sitting bones? And then I often ask you to bring into your mind something that you're grateful for, but I'm going to amend that a little bit. I watched this TED talk, and the person was saying that making a gratitude list is important, but if you make a gratitude list every day, you find that a lot of the same things are on there every day. And so he proposed making a list every day of 3 things in your life that went well, which is a little different focus. And I know it's early in the day, but maybe you could find 3 things that went well today. Like my heat works, or the car started, or, little things that we don't often take a moment of gratitude for. And just seeing if bringing to mind 3 things that went well in your day so far, does that have any effect on your breath? And then if you drop your knees together, let's take them slightly apart now, and we're going to start our little rocking. So the feet have to press just a little bit to get your pelvis rocking from anterior to posterior. And you're trying to kind of do a medium tempo on this, so not too fast, not too slow. And as you get going, maybe you start to feel that rocking traveling up the spine in a way that makes your head nod yes. And then closing the eyes and just tuning in to the feeling of your spine rocking like this. I find it often shows me where there might be some places of holding. Particularly in the lumbar and the cervical spine. You might find a pattern, like if your right side of your lower back feels a little sticky, you might find the right side of your neck feels sticky, like it's not rocking as well as the left. And then pause the rocking, take a couple breaths. And then we're going to grab that belt that you looped and we're going to place it in this position around the front of your ankle and top of your thigh. And then once it's on there, just walk your feet a tiny bit away from your pelvis so that you get that sense of tractioning in your hip sockets and your low back. So you're definitely actively pressing into the lower part of the belt so that your upper legs are receiving the action of that. And then just take a few moments with your breath, with your mind, with your awareness. Just notice if you feel any difference on the right side of your lower back, left side of your lower back, the space in and around your two femur heads. Do you feel any difference in that space of the hip crease? So either feeling for space or lack of space, or feeling maybe a difference in how your breath is moving on one side as opposed to the other. And let's say that you feel a little less space on the right or the left, whichever side. Can you walk that foot a little further away from your pelvis so that you're getting a little more traction on that side that you need it? Just noting if there's more space now by walking that one foot out. And then go ahead and walk your feet a little closer to the pelvis, slip the belt out. And then we're gonna come on to our left side on the left forearm. So making sure your left elbow is directly under the shoulder, have your legs at about a 45-degree angle from the pelvis. Put your top hand on your hip. Okay, we're just gonna go up and down into side plank. Okay, so pressing your feet down, lifting up and down. We're gonna do maybe 6, slow. Noticing if this is challenging, there'll be like a little swivel of your pelvis downwards, meaning your top hip will roll to look at the floor. So I'd rather have you do less height, more stability. And then after 6, come on over to the other side. And same amount here, whatever you did on the first side. Just notice, are you lifting higher, easier, more swivel, less swivel? So we're getting our side abdominals, the oblique muscles. We're also getting our outer hips. So that press of the lower leg is helping. Okay, and then we're going to come into a child's pose with arms extended. We're going to go into dog pose, but just take a moment in child's pose. So arms active, so elbows away from the ground. Spread your fingers wide, press the root of the index finger into the floor. And can you keep your ears in line with your upper arm? So maybe the head is touching, maybe not, meaning touching the floor. And before we come into dog pose, just take a few deep breaths here and feel into your ability to connect with your pelvic floor. Can you feel your pelvic floor moving? And what do you notice in your lumbar spine? So our lower back spinal muscles so intimately connected with our pelvic floor function. So there's definitely less space on one side of your lower back, usually the tighter side of the pelvic floor. Can you use your hands asymmetrically pushing into the floor to get more length back into your sticky or compressed or less space side? If you're not sure, if you can't tell, press one, take a breath or two, press the other one, take a breath or two, and the one that helps you take a deeper breath is the one you need. And then lift your pelvis enough to curl your toes under. Let's come into a bent leg down dog to start. So pulling your pelvis maximum amount away from your hands with your knees bent. Take a few moments here to heighten your pelvis. Lift up through the buttocks, tail. So either feeling or imagining you're lengthening your pelvic floor muscles. So from pubic bone to tail, getting longer. And in this shape, our sitting bones are a little wider. Press the balls of your feet down as much as you're able to. Imagine lengthening your heel away from the ball of the foot. And then I want you to take a full 10 seconds to straighten your legs. Go really, really slow. 10 seconds is a long time to straighten the legs. And just see how does your pelvis receive the straightening of your legs, right? So we know the hamstrings tend to pull the pelvis into a posterior tilt. So can you fight the tendency to do that? Okay, take a breath or two with the legs all the way straight. Reconnect with your inner hand. Reconnect with the balls of your feet. We're going to come into a plank. If you need to modify that with your knees down, feel free to do that. Slowly roll into plank, making sure that your head stays in line with the spine, that you're not dropping your head. So your face is parallel to the floor. Pressing the inner hand down. Push the floor away from you so you feel your front body lift. Couple breaths here. And then with as much control as you're able to muster, again, you can put your knees down. Can you lower all the way to the ground slowly? And then we're going to come on to the right forearm for side plank. We did that already. I know, we're doing it again. Okay, so starting the way we started, so we're on our right side now. We're starting with the right side this time. lift your pelvis up like we did before. You can stop anywhere along the way, okay? I'm gonna straighten the top leg. You decide whether that's possible. The inner foot's on the floor. Top arm comes out in front of me at shoulder distance. Okay, and then I'm gonna lift the arm, keep the leg down, bring the arm down, lift the leg up. Okay, so we're maintaining the firmness of the right waist as we're insisting that our body recalibrate in a very different relationship to gravity. And we'll go for 6-ish. I lost count. Okay. Okay, and then come down. Coming onto the left side. So we lift up, straighten the top leg, straighten the top arm. Lift the arm to the ceiling, and now bring the arm down, lift the leg. Pressing that outer left calf, left foot into the ground. So side to side difference, such a huge contributor to pelvic floor dysfunction. Can we make our two sides equally strong, equally flexible? All right, and then we're going to come into a child's pose. Arms straight, head in line with the arms, ears in line with the arms. Push the floor away from your knees, lengthen back through your lumbar, check your breath. Can you feel your breath in your lower back and your pelvic floor? Does it feel different than the first time we did this? Pressing the hands asymmetrically, if that helps you breathe more equally. And then tuck your toes under. 10 seconds to come into down dog. Stop just before the legs are straight. So you can get a little more charge into your hands to bring your pelvis, the weight of your pelvis over your legs. Press the balls of your feet down. So if you found that asymmetrical pushing with your hands helped in child's pose, maybe that would help here. And then as much as you're able to, keeping the lift through the top of your hamstring, the lower part of your sacrum, moving up to that apex of the sitting bones, straighten the legs. How's the breath? And then we're coming into plank, knees up or down, you decide. Can you align the crown of your head and the perineum? Can you stay on the inner line of your hands, forearms, so it's supporting the chest to the back body? Inner thigh bones lifting towards the ceiling to support the pelvis. And then with as much control as you can muster, lower yourself all the way down. Come on to your left forearm. What? We did this already. I know we're doing it again. I'm channeling your inner voice there. All right, so we're getting ready to go up into side plank. So we're going to lift the pelvis like we've been doing. Straighten the top leg like we did before. Keep the top arm on your side now. Lift your top foot to hip height, and then we're going to go forward with the arm, backward with the leg. Can you keep control of your lower belly when the leg is going behind you? So we're trying not to let the lower back overarch when the hip comes into extension. And then down, change sides. Lift up, straighten the top leg, top arm straight, lift the leg to hip height. And hopefully you're starting to know which side is easier and harder. There's just more a sense of ease on one side. How does that relate to your pelvic floor challenge? Guess what? Child's pose. We got one more in the sequence. Straight arms, push the floor away, pull back through your sitting bones. Keep your head in line with your arms. Couple deep breaths. Keep noticing if there's any shift in how you're experiencing your lower back, your tailbone, your sitting bones. Curl the toes under. Downward facing dog. Slow, slow, slow. How slow can you go? Keep watching the breath as the legs get straighter and straighter. The strength of your arms and shoulders, insisting that the weight go towards the pelvis. Slowly straightening the legs. Can you feel your breath in your lower body? If you're wondering if we're going to do this the entire class, we're not. It's the last time we're going to do this. Okay. One more time, plank. One more time, lower down. And then last time for side plank. Don't be sad. All right, come on to your right side. All right, we're gonna do one more in the sequence. Okay, so do what you can do. We're gonna lift up the pelvis, straighten the top leg. This time, take your top arm next to your head. Lift that left foot off the ground. And now we're gonna do little crunches of top elbow, top knee, in and out, keeping that pressing of your right forearm, making sure your right shoulder's not up in your ear. Good. We're going for a 6-ish. And last side plank. Don't be sad. You never know what could be coming next. Okay. Lift up. Straighten the top leg. Top arm next to your head. Pressing through your lower leg and your left forearm. Keep your head back a little bit, Gwen. When you're coming in here, we're doing this. Yeah. Try to keep the head more in like Tadasana position. Okay, and then we're actually going to come onto our back and we're going to come into that first position. So the constructive rest. So if you were using a blanket, grab a blanket. If not, just come onto your back, everybody. And again, feel for where that placement of your feet feels equal weight in the heel and the ball of the foot. As you watch the breath, is it touching the sitting bones? Is it touching the sitting bones better than before? Or maybe you just have more awareness of it. And then let's start our rocking again. So you're pressing the feet a little bit to get tucking, untucking, tucking, untucking, posterior, anterior, and then see if you can get that movement traveling up the spine so your head starts to nod. And again, just see, do you have more awareness of how your spine is moving, or maybe you feel a difference in how your spine is moving? And then start to slow it down and slow it down and slow it down until you stop, let your knees drop together, close your eyes. As you inhale, either feeling or imagining, with every inhale, your pelvic floor widens and moves slightly down. As you exhale, it slightly releases towards the midline and lifts. Not because you're doing any manipulation of it. It's happening as a result of good, deep breathing. And then bring your attention to your side ribs, your bottom side ribs. So left and right side waist, just watch a few rounds of inhale and exhale and just see, can you feel a difference on how the two sides inflate and deflate? Okay, and then once you feel like you have a clear picture, you're gonna grab one block, lift the right foot off the ground. We're gonna put the block on the vertical plane parallel to the spine against the right thigh. And then left elbow is pressing into the block. So opposite leg, opposite arm. Take your right arm towards the ceiling. Now, before you lift your left foot up, can you touch your low back, your low ribs to the ground, and do not let that change as you lift your left foot off the ground. You're squeezing the block, and then we're going to move right arm, left leg in and out a few times, but I want you to move a little on the slow side so you can feel any nuance of change in your lumbar spine. We're trying to keep the lumbar spine from moving at all. I'm not asking you to push it into the floor, but if you could keep it just touching the floor, that would be ideal. And we'll go for 6, less than that if you're feeling tired or weak, more than that if you drank too much coffee. And then before we switch sides, put the block on your abdomen and just see what you feel by doing right leg, left arm. Does it have any effect on those side ribs, lower side ribs? And then go ahead and switch. Left leg comes up, lock against left thigh, right elbow. Lift your left arm before you lift up your foot. Kiss the floor with your lower back, lift the foot up. And then maintaining that stability through your pelvic floor, your lower spine, moving in and out. If you feel any pulling on the low back, either don't go as far out with your leg or lift the leg a little higher. All right, and then let's put the block on the belly, release the arms, take a couple breaths. Feel into your side ribs. And then think about what we've done since the beginning of class. Is there anything you can think of that went well? Can you think of a couple things that went well as we move through those postures? All right, you're going to grab that block. Again, have it on the vertical plane. Walk your feet towards your butt. So your back is on the ground. Can you keep your back on the ground as you lift both feet up? Put the block against your thighs, both thighs. So your knees are all the way together. Put both elbows on the other side of the block. So just notice here, if you are pressing lightly with your elbows and knees, your low back should be touching the ground. Okay, so if this is challenging, stay here. If you want a little more challenge, we're going to lift the head towards the ceiling, not towards the block, towards the ceiling, and your hands can come and give your head a little bit of support. But that is going to engage your upper abs a lot more. What the upper abs engaging does is to help keep those of us that are rib poker outers that have a little bit of too much pushing of the rib cage forward, strengthening those fibers in the front. We're only doing this once, so we're going to hold it a tiny bit longer. Can you keep your lower back kissing the floor? Head up or down. Elbows pressing more than the legs. Your arms are weaker than your legs. Okay, and then come all the way down. Okay, block off to the side for a moment. Let's roll to the side to sit up. And you're going to sit with your feet now a little further out than 90 degrees. If you tend to have a sensitive tailbone, which some of us do, especially in the pelvic floor world, you can put a blanket under your pelvis. Your choice. Now we're going to sit in this position. We're going to take the arms out parallel to the floor, palms face each other. Okay, so we are going to round the back here. So I want you to think of pubic bone and navel moving towards each other. Start to put a little more pressure on the feet. I want us to come down, but don't come down so far that you can't get back up. Okay, so maybe the first one you say, okay, maybe I go to thoracic, mid-thoracic. Am I able to get back up? Okay, and if that was doable and not so awful, well, then maybe go a little bit more. Yeah, good, everybody. Nice. Okay, let's just do maybe two more like this, which means we might change it up. Okay, one more like that. Let's meet up at the top. And now twist your body in this position with the arm position to your right so that we're going to come down now on the left lumbar a little bit more. Let's see if you can do 4-ish of those. And just see if twisting now you're coming up asymmetrically. How does that affect your ability to do this up and down? Is it better? Is it worse? We're trying to keep the pelvic floor drawing up, belly not pooching as you come up. And then after 4-ish, change sides. Twist your upper body to the left. So we all have the ability to twist a little bit more on one side. Sometimes pelvic floor problems are caused by we have a twist in our pelvis. So again, we're just noticing, oh, these are really different. All right, and then after 4, we'll do one more down, all the way down. We're gonna stay down, hug the knees into the chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. And then from knees as close in as you can get them to knees about halfway out, maybe your arm length out, so straight arms, so that maybe the weight of the legs is pulling your arms straight. So maybe you're a little more towards your tail now, and let's just trace the outline of the sacrum. So you're moving your knees in a way that you're tracing sacrum, maybe doing that 2 or 3 times, and then change the direction that you're doing it. Just so you have a clear view of your sacrum from the inside. Just feeling that shape of it. All right, feet down. And then we're going to have our legs about 90 degrees again. Separate them more from each other. So the feet are wider than the hips, arms are in a T. And let's do our psoas release, bringing your pelvis side to side. So you're rolling all the way onto the outer pelvis, rolling across the back of the foot. And then the next time your knees are to your right, pushing out through that left thigh bone. And where do you feel that? Can you trace in your mind's eye your psoas? So it attaches to your lower back, sides of the lower back, down through your pelvic bowl. So like on the inside of your left hip here, crosses out the front, and then connects to the back inner thigh. Where do you feel it? And rolling across your pelvis to the other side, pressing that right foot into the ground to get maximum lengthening of the right thigh. And again, tracing off the lower right back as it merges into the inside of your right hip bone, out the front of the pelvis. So right in that groin space to the back inner thigh. Okay, and then come up to the middle. If rolling on your back with weight is a bad idea, we're going to go to standing. So you can roll to your side and stand up. Anybody that wants to try to get a little bit of rocking going so that you can just rock yourself up. Okay, and what I'd like us to do is you're going to take the short end of your mat to the wall. And let's grab a block. Okay, we're gonna attach the outer left foot. So if you have to turn your way from the camera, we're gonna do triangle pose to half moon pose. Okay, so with the back foot touching the wall, just if you have to turn around, I'll just tell you real quick, little shorter distance than normal for your triangle pose, so that when you go up into your Ardha Chandrasana, this leg is staying under the hip. Okay. So we're going to do this with the back foot on the wall. If balance is like a little challenging for you, you could also do this with your back against the wall. Okay? So the right foot is forward, left foot's touching the wall. You're going to have your block on the outside of your shin. Okay, and then come up before we go down. And I want you to think about the ball of the back foot. Can you just seal it to the ground, and then without losing that, push the outer foot into the wall? So that pushing into the wall isn't lifting the inner foot. You're keeping the ball of the foot grounded. And now we did a lot of things for our side body here. So as we start to tilt over that front leg, can you keep the length of your bottom waist so that you're not going down in a C curve? So long in that waist and then landing the hand down. When your hand touches, press the block down and towards your back foot. And that should also help you lengthen the bottom waist. Find your breath. Okay, we're going to bend the front leg, move the block a little bit forward. Can you get your back foot on the wall at hip height? Okay, so again, feel free to put your back against the wall if you need to. All right, so where is our pelvic floor coming in here? I want everyone to bend the right leg, standing leg bends. Turn your right thigh out as much as you can. Feel what happens to that sitting bone. It comes in towards the midline strongly. Keeping that external rotation on the standing leg. Slowly straighten the leg. Slowly straighten the leg. So your right sitting bone is strongly coming towards the perineum. If it feels okay to take your top arm up, do so. Keep your head in line with your spine, not dropping. If the balance is hard, you can look down, okay? But if you're able to, keep your face parallel to the wall in front of you. Find your breath. So with your hand, bottom hand on the block, push the block a little bit towards the wall your back foot's pushing into. So again, you get more length on your right waist. Breathe. Okay, and then put your hand on your hip, top hand on your hip. Look at your right leg as you bend it, turn it out again so that you're keeping your pelvic floor contracted. Try to float that back foot right back to the baseboard or the wall, and then pushing into the wall to come up. Turn your feet parallel, come into Tadasana for a moment and feel your sideways. So feel that space of your lower ribs, lower side ribs. You did one side, not the other. Is it different? Take a moment and ask yourself, what went well in that pose? How about you didn't fall over? How about you could feel subtlety? You could feel the right side of your pelvic floor engaging. You could feel how it was you were able to take a deep breath in a challenging pose. Okay, other side. Okay, so right foot to the wall. Again, just a slightly shorter distance than you're used to, so that we can keep the bottom hip alignment. Okay, so pushing down the ball of the back foot, keeping that as you press into the wall. Feel how that just tones everything up through your center. Your legs are supporting the pelvic floor. All right, slowly coming down, thinking about lengthening your bottom waist as you're coming down. When the block when your hand touches the block, rather push the block down and a little bit towards your back foot. Take the top arm. Okay, and then feel into that left sitting bone. Can you bring your left sitting bone towards your right sitting bone? So again, these standing poses are so good for creating tone in the pelvic floor. All right, and then for a moment, put your top hand on your hip. Look down as you bend your front leg. Make sure it's not collapsing in. Turn it out, point it out. Take your back foot to the wall. Okay, get your balance first. And then take a look at your standing leg for a moment. Bend the knee, turn the top of the leg out maximum. Can you feel your left sitting bone contracting in towards the perineum and then maintaining that as you re-straighten the leg? And then if it feels okay to take your top arm up, it's not that important. If you can keep your face parallel to the wall in front of you or even looking towards your top hand, but again, maintaining the stability of your legs to support your pelvic floor is more important. Notice what you're doing with your bottom arm. Are you leaning into the block or are you pushing? So can you stay active through that so that you have a lifting up through the body? You're not collapsing into the block. All right, and then top hand on hip, look down. As you bend your standing leg, turn it out, maintain. Can you, with control, land that back foot so you're touching the wall, coming into triangle pose for just a moment and push into the wall to come up. Okay, turn the feet parallel. Step your feet into Tadasana. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you press down to the balls of your feet? Press down into the outer heel without losing the ball of the foot. Feel how that tones the inseam of your leg. So the inseam of your leg in Tadasana is directly supporting the perineum. And then maintaining that, feeling your breath in your side body. Feeling particularly the lower side ribs, Okay, and then open the eyes and you're going to grab your second block. So we're going to do that same sequence, but we're going to add here. So just take a quick look. So I'll just do this quickly. So I'm going triangle. You'll do Ardha Chandrasana and we're going to go a lot slower than I'm showing. After you've been in Ardha Chandrasana for a few breaths, I'm going to have you turn the back foot down and take your blocks forward for we'll call this a variation of warrior number 3. Okay, and then we'll come out the same way. So we'll go back to our Ardha Chandrasana, back to the triangle pose. Yeah. What do you think? Yay? Do I get some yay energy on that one? Okay. Here we go. This is the second to last class of the year. Try to think of it that way. All right, here we go. Let's just review until it's new. Okay, so back foot, ball the foot first, then the outer foot presses. Lengthen your bottom waist as you come down. Use your block to lengthen that bottom waist even more. Can you get Tadasana in your rib cage? Take your top arm up. Okay, can you roll your front thigh, right thigh out a little bit more to draw your sitting bones towards one another? Feel how that engages your pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor is strongly engaged, but it shouldn't be shortening your breath. If anything, it should be deepening your breath. Okay, top hand on hip as we transition. Look down so you know your knee is not rolling in. Come into your Ardha Chandrasana. Take your time. The balance is crucial. Once you feel balanced there, bend the bottom leg, turn that top of the thigh out to get maximum engagement into your pelvic floor. Again, turning the head, taking the top arm, oh, that's just extra. If all you can do is maintain the stability of the standing leg, that's awesome. Breathe. All right, you're going to turn the chest down, bring your top hand down, bring your blocks a little more forward so the arms are in line with the shoulders, and turn the foot that's on the wall, turn your toes down. Okay, so again, we're looking for the front of the body to move back. So press the blocks into the floor so that you feel your breastbone lift towards your shoulders, your navel lifts up towards the spine, your lower abdomen supports the lumbar, the sacrum. And then can you find the inner alignment of your crown to the perineum? All right, and then we're going to slowly move back into Ardha Chandrasana. You decide if your top arm's going. Good work, everybody. And then see if you can control that back leg as it comes down. Push into the wall to come up. Turn your feet, step or jump your feet together. Take a breath or two. We've done one side, not the other. What do you feel in your pelvis, the rib cage, your chest? Okay, side two. Side two with a sense of adventure, like, wow, what's going to happen on side two? Can hardly stand the anticipation. Is that what you're thinking, Amy? Okay. All right. Ball the back foot plants itself into the ground as you push the back foot into the wall, lengthening your bottom waist as you're coming out. So don't think of it as a hip shift as much as a lengthening on that bottom side. Okay. Take a moment here in triangle pose. Pull that left sitting bone towards the midline. Okay, transitioning yourself into Ardha Chandrasana. Okay, once you're steady, bend the bottom leg, turn it out a little bit more. So your pelvic floor is contracting a little bit more on that left side. Top arm up if you can. What is going well right now? Instead of thinking about what's not going well, can you think about what's going well? All right, and then with as much control as you're able to, turning your chest down, grabbing your second block, turning your back toes down. What can you do to get the front of your body to support the back of your body? So pushing the blocks firmly into the ground, drawing that space from pubic bone to low rib cage up. And then adding a little push of the blocks towards your back foot to get your side waist to lengthen. Can you feel your two side ribs expanding with each breath? All right, and then let's make our way back into Ardha Chandrasana. Getting a little more stable to handle the holidays. All right, bending the standing leg without it turning in, trying to land your bottom foot quietly, and then using the wall to bring you up. Turn your feet, step your feet together. Tadasana.
Leslie, in the crown to perineum, should we activate the Mula Bandha?
I'm going to say, I don't want you to think of it that way. How about it is activating as a result of the work in the legs? Okay? The only exception to that would be if someone knew they were very hypotonic, more lax, and they might feel they need to engage it more. But I don't want people to get into the habit of being in a standing pose and clenching, because that's what has happened. So thank you for asking that. Yeah. All right, you guys ready to do one last standing pose? No. All right, here we go. We're gonna add one more pose to that sequence. One more pose. So I'll show you just real quick. So everything's the same, and then we're gonna add when we get to the warrior 3 variation. Let's just give it a go. We're just gonna try this very, very quickly. So the back leg again is turned in, and we're gonna do Parvrida Ardha Chandrasana, which is a really, really interesting pose for your pelvic floor. Because of the twist, you're gonna really feel how now here I'm gonna ask you to engage because it'll help you twist more. Okay, but then we're gonna release it. So it's gonna be engage, release, engage, release. Okay? All right, here we go. Last hard thing, knowing that Shavasana is the hardest pose. Okay. All right, here we go. It's all review. Pressing the back foot, lengthening your bottom waist, using your arm to help you lengthen the bottom waist. Take a moment in a fully supported triangle pose. What's happening in your right pelvic floor? Pull that sitting bone towards the midline by turning the leg out, right? It should happen as a result of the work of the legs. Okay, coming up into your half moon. Bending your standing leg. Turning the top of the thigh out should help your pelvic floor engage. I'm hoping that you feel that. All right, turning towards the ground, turn your back foot down. And again, push the floor down so that you get a lift up. We're going to keep the left hand where it is. You could have it on your hip, your right hand on your hip. As you turn, feel how your back hip is rolling down. So now can you draw your sitting bones towards each other just to go a little bit deeper into the twist? And as you inhale, let that go. Do that one more time. Exhale, draw the sitting bones together. I find it gives me a little more ability to twist. It gives me more stability through my lower body. But as you're inhaling, you're letting that go because you've made the distance. You don't need to keep it in engagement. And then slowly coming back to your warrior 3. Take a breath. Slowly coming into your Ardha Chandrasana. Take a breath. Bend your standing leg and find your way back to the wall. And lifting up, turn your feet. Tadasana. Take a breath. How was that? Not too horrible? Okay. Kelly, I'm not getting am I getting she doesn't want your standing poses. All right, here we go. All right, last side. Okay, left leg's forward. Here we go. Find your breath. Can you feel your breath in your pelvic floor, slowing it down? Okay, and keeping that back foot anchored. Side bending. Take a moment, top arm up. Bottom hand is pushing down and back, pushing the block towards your back foot. All right, bending the top, bending your standing leg. The top arm can be up or down. You can decide. It's not that important. The legs are more important. Okay, once you're in Ardha Chandrasana, bend your standing leg, turn the top of the thigh out. You can feel the effect that has on that side of your pelvic floor. Take your top arm up. Okay, turning the torso down towards the ground. Grab your second block. Take a moment. In this variation of warrior number 3. And then your right hand is going to stay on the block. Put your opposite hand on your hip, turn, and then see, as you exhale, can you get a little more turn using your pelvic floor to help you turn on the exhale, but inhale, let it go. And then exhale, pull the sitting bones towards each other, turn a little bit more, and then let it go. You can have your hand on your hip or up, depending on your shoulder. And then slowly making your way back to warrior three. Slowly coming into Ardha Chandrasana. And then can you keep that back leg light? So your pelvic floor abdominal muscles help support that back leg. Graceful stepping down all the way up. Turn your feet, step your feet together. Whew. Okay, so before we go back down onto the ground, let's take supported wall Uttanasana. So your butt is on the wall, your feet are about a foot away from the wall. I would suggest having a block for your hands. And I want you to be able to clearly feel your sitting bones on the wall. So you need to move the flesh of the buttock to feel it. And then experiment like we did in child's pose. Can you experiment a little bit with pushing one hand more than the other? So if you push your left hand, that should help your right sitting bone push into the wall a little bit more. And then other side, and just see which one gives you an ability to take a deeper breath. Can you slow your breath down? And so perhaps you became more aware of which side needs a little more length. Can you bring that awareness, come out of this pose, standing up, and can you bring that awareness into wide-legged forward fold? Okay, so if you need support for your hands, the blocks can come in handy, or maybe you don't need support of the hands, but a block under the head would be nice. But can you remember which sitting bone felt light on the wall? You might need to lengthen that side a little bit more here. Feel free to do this pose with bent or straight legs. What's most important is your ability to connect with your pelvic floor. Are you able to feel your breath moving around your lumbar muscles, around the tailbone? Can you sense the space on the left side of your tailbone? Can you sense the space on the right side of your tailbone? Okay, and then slowly walk your feet in. And you're going to make your way down onto the ground, and we're going to do supported bridge pose on the block. So taking whatever height of the block is appropriate for you. Having your knees in line with your hips, making sure you can access the inner foot. So just a little bit of effort here in the inner line. So ball the foot to keep your knees stable. Inner thighs release towards the ground to soften the groin. Roll your upper arm bones out. close the eyes. So thinking about the class. Pick something that you felt went well in today's class. Can you have a sense of gratitude that it went well? Does cultivating a sense of gratitude have any effect on your breath? Okay, and then lifting up off the block, lengthening your lower back as you come down. And one last time, we're gonna do the rocking. So if you needed support under your head, grab it. And then let's get that little cat cow in the pelvis, and then see if you can invite it into your upper spine. And I'm hoping that your spine has a little more fluidity, a little more ease of movement. And then slowing down that rocking until you stop. Take a couple breaths in constructive rest. And then getting what you need for Shavasana. So, do you want something under your knees? Do you want to cover yourself because it's cold? Do you want to do face up Shavasana? Do you want to do face down Shavasana? Finding the Shavasana pose that your body is asking for so that your nervous system can rest quietly. Taking a moment to get settled in your physical body. And then once you're satisfied that you can't make any more adjustments to be comfortable, can you invite your body to just feel the support of the ground? Can you be a passive observer of yourself? A non-commenting, non-judgmental witness of yourself. If your mind wanders off into a story, can you bring it back by focusing on how is your breath moving through your body, through your temporary home of the body? If you notice the mind again going elsewhere, trying to create a story, can you keep bringing it back to your breath? If the breath doesn't anchor your awareness, can the feeling of your body, the weight of your body, anchor you in one place? Begin to deepen your breath. Take a moment to ask that this practice benefit yourself, but also in turn benefit others, that we do this in the service of others. And whenever you feel ready, make your way onto your side for a few breaths before you come up. And then using your top hand to bring yourself into any seated position. Let's sit quietly for a moment with the eyes closed. And if you can remember tonight before you go to sleep, maybe thinking about a few things that went well today. Bring your palms together in front of the chest. And let's close with 3 ohms. Take a deep breath in. Om. 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 Bowing your head towards your heart, taking a moment to remind yourself to be grateful for the gift of our lives, our bodies, our breath, and the teachings of yoga. Thank you, everybody. Namaste. Hang in there. If you're open to coming on New Year's Eve day, I'll be teaching. I won't be here next week. I'll send you the recording +1. Let me know if there's any questions. Thank you.
That was awesome. I'm really glad I through because this morning's appointment was weightlifting and I did a lot of shoulders and obliques. And oh my
Wow.
goodness.
You go, Gwen. An hour of weightlifting and then an hour of yoga. Wow, I'm impressed.
No, it wasn't an hour of weightlifting, just like half an hour. But so on the side plank thing,
Yep.
when you do the lift, you're not trying to, are you really lift the downside, right? You're trying
Yeah,
to
you're
just
not
make
trying
it
to
straight.
curve. I think that's what you're
Okay.
asking. Yeah, you're trying to keep your Tadasana rib cage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Welcome. Anything
Thank you
else?
for, thank you for sending us the videos.
Welcome. I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday and let's all pray for Amy. No floodwaters. Oh my God. Oh my
Oh,
God. Oh my God.
gosh.
No, I'm
There's,
in higher ground, so it's
You're on
unfortunately
high
a little
ground.
valley
You're okay.
around me.
All right. Well,
Yep.
let's keep Washington in our thoughts.
Yeah,
All right.
have a
definitely.
good holiday.
You too. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.